Thank you for coming back and tuning into my channel. I want to start by saying, I am not a licensed therapist. I'm not a licensed shrink. So this story is simply just explaining Kerry's depression and his battle through it. So, please, if this video was some sort of helpful for you, please like, subscribe, and share, and hope you enjoy the video. Thank you for coming back to this fourth episode of Into Depression, Overcoming Depression. And today I'm joined with Kerry Mayville. And out of all the subjects and stuff like that I've talked about with depression, yours is one that I really wanted people to hear, and mainly just due to the background of it. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. What caused your depression, ultimately?
Ultimately, I think it was a lot of factors into it. I was in the military from 2004 to 2013, but within that time span, I was active duty from 2006 to 2012. I was stationed in Fort Wainwright, Alaska. Had a blast up there, and then the deployments came. Iraq. By the time I got there, it was kind of a joke. We did get engaged twice. No one was hurt. It wasn't a big deal. It was an eye-opener. In a sense that, hey, this is real. It could happen. At the end of it, we went back home to Alaska, back home to the family. Went back home to my wife, Mary. We had only been married for about a year, but that year was spent in Iraq.
Yeah.
So trying to get to know each other for the first real time had its challenges. I didn't know then, though, that some of the traits that being deployed into a combat scene tends to give you were already there.
Yeah.
Waking up in the middle of the night. I thought I was just not tired.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. The jumpiness, like at the drop of a hat, that started then. Fast forwarded 2 years to 2011, we got the word, hey, we're going. Mm-hmm. In fact, I remember Mary had shot me a text message. She's like, hey, we just got Osama. Do you still have to go? And I was like, it would be nice not to, but yeah, we're still going. We already got our orders. So we went, and I remember, I'm pretty sure being just like most of the military guys on their first or second deployment, especially to Afghanistan. We were in Kandahar, a place called Spurwingar in Panjwai. Pretty sure a lot of us were like, oh yeah, let's go, let's do this. We're physically fit, we're mentally ready. For me, I can't speak for the rest of my guys, but for me, there wasn't anything that was going to get me ready for what was to happen a few months down the road. We're out on a mounted patrol, and we're doing our thing. We come back, and we get called right back for a QRF. One of our first platoon element trucks got hit, flipped the truck over, and one of my friends, I didn't know him that well, but I knew him to a certain degree. We had a few parties together. His name was Brandon Mullins. His head was crushed by the steering. The last time we heard, he had a heartbeat, but he was in the bird. He did not make it. He died in the bird on the way to the hospital. We found that out afterwards. We had already made it back to our fob, and my lieutenant called me and, hey, Mayville, let's go to the back. I was like, all right. You kind of get to know each other on a deeper level when you're in a combat situation. So automatically I was like, all right, something's not right. He's not himself.
Yeah.
And then that's when we found out. He told us that Mullins didn't make it. A lot of the guys were just like
pissed off.
Yeah, they're pretty angry. knowing him through parties and stuff and fooling around with him, I kind of lost it.
Yeah.
My lieutenant was right there. He was like, "Hey, don't worry, roomie. There's pay." So we got back in our vehicles and we, an 8-ton giant limo looking tank screaming down the road at 80 miles an hour. Everybody kind of just stays away.
Yeah.
We did what we had to do. And then we went over to the first platoon's cop. Met up with a few of them. They were obviously very upset. The day of his memorial, I believe it was the day of his memorial. It was 3 days apart though. On the 28th of August, everybody that was coming in and fought that day got hit. Our company commander took out one of our buddies, Doug Green, and they were checking out a culvert when some asshole with an RPG just lit it up. It hit right next to Brandon. Obviously, he didn't make it. It tore him apart almost, from what I've heard. I was sitting on top of a mountain in my tank thing, and we saw the blast.
Yeah.
And I remember the first thing one of my close buddies, Sergeant Casey Warren, now he's still in. He's just yelled IED, 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 because that's what we thought it was. We didn't hear the shot.
Yeah.
And then very vividly, I remember, because we all had helmets with, they call them CBCs, with the radios on there. We were already listening company. And all of a sudden, we just hear RCO yell out creature base. And that's it. After that, it was silence. We didn't know what was going on. We knew it was bad. From what I've heard from other friends that were there with him when he died, he made it to the gate, and then that's when he died. The guys that were there with him knew that there was no way. They knew it was going to happen. The medical team tried, and there was no way. After that, I think that was the big one. That's what really cemented it. Hey, this is it. That made up my mind. I was done. That and the amount of injuries that our 3rd platoon element took during that year. I'm done. I'm out. This is it. I'm not re-enlisting. I'm done. And looking back on it, there's still, and I'm sure with a lot of the people that are going to see this video can agree, should have never gotten out. Should have just stayed in. If someone was to walk through the door right now and offer me $5 to go back in, I'd probably do it. Because that brotherhood and that want to do something, it never leaves. But yeah, I'd say that was pretty much
that's what caused it. So ultimately, after getting out and then seeing everything that happened and, coming back to the States and, kind of getting back into the flow of things, and I guess the ultimate question would be, what were you feeling and how were you feeling
it? Over the years, I didn't break down right off the bat and start studying, hey, what does depression do? What does PTSD do? What do these nightmares mean? What does it mean when I wake up in a cold sweat, screaming?
Yeah.
I had to learn all that stuff in time. However, there's this nasty little monster that we all have. It's called pride. Mm-hmm. I did not go to the VA. I was like, man, I just got shot at for a year straight. I've seen 2 of my buddies die. I've been less than 50 meters from a friendly suicide. I got this. You know, I'm a man. I can handle it. No, this shit tore me apart. It started really becoming self-evident with the anger.
Yeah.
Mary at the time would ask me to do something. I'd not hear it. Doing whatever. Spent a lot of times playing video games that were shooters. You know, you got Call of Duty, Battlefield, and all that stuff. Basically reliving and not really doing any good for myself, because I think thinking back now, it just was a constant reminder. I was always on guard, which made
Things
me so very easily scared.
Yeah.
But I think I started really feeling it with the anger, the aggression. And then with that, I'd start feeling really, really bad about it. And I'd get depressed. I wouldn't do anything for days. I'd sit in bed trying to find a job, but not really my head and my heart in it. You know, just like, fuck this. I never tried to do anything about it as far as self-harm. I did cut for a while. I still got the scars right underneath my watch. But there was never any like on the underside of that. There was never any of that. I knew that I didn't want to die. Mary tried to help, but if you don't want the help, you're not going to ask for it.
Yeah.
You know, if you think you got it, you're not going to do anything. You're just going to.
That pride sets in, and
you're just going to Charlie Mike, continue mission. That's all you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's all I did. But there were some things that other things happened that ultimately broke it completely. We ended up divorcing.
Yeah.
Because of it, but part of it was me, but I think a good part of it was what the demon of Afghanistan did.
So, how did you come back from it? What were the steps that you take from, you know, you having the depression, you finally realizing that there's something wrong? What were the steps that you were taking to, you know?
Well, I ended up moving out and moving to Georgia with a buddy of mine that we had done some crazy stuff together. My buddy Kerry Mayville, he's still in as well. He's doing really, really well as far as I know. Ended up living over there in Georgia with him. What I started to do at first was fill those, what I would now categorize as loneliness.
Yeah.
You know, I lost Mary. I lost my son, which deepened it even more. So I started going around trying to find other people to feel. I ran through numerous significant others. I wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
You know, just all that stuff. And then I couldn't find a job over there in Hinesville. I think the best way to describe that area is, if you don't have a job, you're not going to get a car. But if you don't have a car, you're not going to get a job. And it's like
one or the other.
Yeah, it was very, very frustrating. And a young lady that I was talking to down here in Texas, in Kyle, Texas, over by Austin, mentioned that there's a military-style boot camp for kids. And then, all right, so I moved.
Yeah.
Had nothing. You know, just picked up and moved. Made it down to Kyle, settled in San Marcos, Texas. Started my job as a juvenile supervision officer there. That helped out a lot. You know, it was something that I could keep my mind busy with.
Structure.
It very structured at first,
yeah.
I should say. But it put me into a structured schedule.
Yeah.
Which helped out. Over the years, I spent 5 years there. Had my final significant relationship with one young lady. It did not end well. It was bad the whole time out. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
She wasn't good for me. Definitely not good for her. But during that time, Mary and I started talking again. Not romantically or anything. We were civil.
Yeah.
I was able to make my first visits back to Walker, which I think was the huge part.
Actually, I think I remember the day that you were coming down, because we were together.
Yep.
And she was telling me about you coming down, and I believe Mary was a bit nervous because she hasn't seen you since, and like I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was like, what's the dude wants to see his kid? Let the dude see his kid.
That was never a problem. Mary was always great about it. There was no custody battle, which I think, looking back on that, was a huge blessing. Because I'm pretty sure that would have just
probably make things 10 times worse.
Maybe even push me off.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, I'm done.
I got you.
But meeting you that first time was interesting.
I remember. Yes. But now that we have opened that gate, how did you close the gate? What else did you do? What was a part of your life that, I don't know, are you still battling your depression? Are you still, is it an everyday battle like it is for the rest of us? Or is it something that kind of dims down as each day progresses?
Well, as I think definitely, as you know, I've seen you on some of your rough days.
Yes.
And you definitely have seen me on some of my shitty
I
days.
have.
That shit never goes away. As I'm sure everybody else watching or that will watch knows. Mm-hmm. It never goes away. Add the PTSD. That never goes away. It's just
it's the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Yeah. The nightmares go. They come and go. Mm. Every now and then I'll have one. But Mary is right there.
Yeah.
We got back together. Shortly after I moved here, I resigned from Heath County Juvenile, and I got a job here at El Paso County Juvenile. The goal was just to make sure I could see Walker.
Yeah.
And Walker, he doesn't know, but I don't think he's only 9, so probably doesn't get it. But he's the big one.
Yeah.
He's the reason I'm back. Mary is a huge part of it. But as we all know, people come and go. Mm-hmm. Walker, for me, that was the end goal.
That's your gravity to what's keeping you.
Yeah, exactly.
On Earth still.
Yeah.
So I guess it's safe to say that out of everything that you've physically been through and seen and stuff like that, and your son is your rock.
It's all about family.
Yeah.
The only people, like the first thing the recruiter will always say to anybody, oh, if you enlist here, you're gonna get so much money and you're gonna make friends that'll last an eternity. Yeah, you will. But distance is a bitch. Mm-hmm. My friend Gerald Marlowe, I mentioned him earlier. I haven't spoken to him in months. Casey Warren, he's active duty, he's married, he's got his own family. I barely talk to him. But if I need to, it may take a few days, it may take a couple hours, they'll reply.
Yeah.
Hands down. Distance does that, people grow apart physically and the communication breaks down.
Yeah.
With family, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Me and my family, we're not on talking terms.
Yeah.
At all. That's a different story though. But me and my sister, we just started communicating again. But her husband is a missionary to Ireland. And so she picked up that lifestyle as well. So we barely get to talk, but she's there. But Mary and Walker are so much more.
Yeah.
You know, I have a support system here. I started going to the VA. I haven't been in a while, but I got help, which was one of the big things that Mary was like, hey, if this is going to work, you need to go. I was like, all right. So I swallowed it. I was finally able to swallow that pride. After losing my family once, I'm not about to do it again.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and then Mary was like, hey, there's this church that we can go to if you're open for it. I have a very, very rocky past with church life. And a lot of that I blame my parents. But ultimately, you know, it's just like the blame game, you know, ultimately it's on me.
Yeah.
For not staying close to God. I try. I would love to go to church now, but I work Saturday night, so I'm sleeping most of Sunday. So
Yeah.
But we do go to a married life group over Life Church here in El Paso. It's great. It works. My credit, my fiance Mary, for helping me out with that. Walker loves it. So. But I think with family and, you know, as long as God is in the mix with our family.
Yeah.
I know religion is not for everybody. Everybody's got their own views. But for us, it's central.
Yeah.
And it has been a huge blessing. So basically, I think with the right mixture of faith, family, and a little bit of the VA. If you know the VA, you know what I'm talking about. It's overcomable. It will never leave you. It's never going to go away, and it will show up. It's just a matter of time. To this day, I see, especially here in El Paso, the trash is terrible. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not Middle East bad, but I still look at trash on the side of the road.
Not the same as just basic trash on the side of the road?
Yeah. If there's a box in the middle of the road, I'm swerving.
I don't blame you.
Not just to defend my tires or anything like that. It's because that's what my mind goes to.
Yeah.
Gunshots, if I'm not shooting a gun, I'm trying to find it.
Yeah.
Car horns for me. The Taliban, when we were over there, used to honk their horns to let everybody else know, hey, they're coming, get ready. And a good firefight erupted from that. So car horns for me are
a big no-no.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's an immediate freeze trigger, but I'm on guard more.
Yeah, the most thing with like my sister's ex-husband was the trash. Mm-hmm. The trash on the side of the road, and then seeing the cars from Mexico, like those little compact Chevys.
Cars I take 375 to work every night. Well, the nights that I do.
Yeah.
Seeing all the cars on with one tire missing and cinder blocked, or even worse if they're not and they're just leaning.
Yeah.
Oh dear God, no.
So, for any of our young soldiers watching, or for any of previous, soldiers that have previously, done their duty, what advice would you give them to try to help them combat, that dark spot that, going to war and seeing the things you saw? What would you be your best advice to give them to try to beat it?
I mean, I can't go off of what they're going through because
everybody's different.
Everybody is different. But if you haven't, I'd say exactly there's three things that saved my ass: faith, family, and a little bit of the VA. If your family is telling you you need to go get help or you need to talk to somebody, they're not trying to badger you. They're trying to help. Listen to it. Because if you don't, if you end up like me and you've seen this, I don't know what to say on that one. But
well, to attach to, I believe before we started filming, you told me about Brandon's organization, so I will be attaching a link in the description to that.
Yeah, Brandon has an organization. Brandon Mullins. Doug Green has one too, which is the one I'm pretty sure you were just referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Douglas Green Memorial Foundation. It's run by his mother. His family is all in.
Yeah.
They send care packages to soldiers in mass, talking huge amounts. To deployed soldiers. They're huge advocates. Their website, like you said, will be included here, which is great. Check them out. I'm not sure exactly how the giving works on that, but it's there if you so choose to do that. Even if it's just a, hey, we saw you on this, or we heard about you guys on here.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would appreciate any words of encouragement.
Yeah, of course, and I thank you for coming out and sharing your story and trying to help, as these videos are meant to do, is help one another battle and come out of those little dark spots in life that life throws at us. So I appreciate you, Boss Matt.